It's a very sensitive dial. There we go. Raise this tool rest just a little bit. We've got some bug caverns all in here, which is, I like bug holes, and I think that just adds to the natural beauty of it. I like how this bark is already looking with the sapwood, the yellow sapwood, and then the beautiful mesquite color. That's going to be nice. So, got to look. Do what? I don't know yet. Ed is asking a good question, and please do ask questions as we go through here. Got a big old crack there. I'm really leery of cracks I see in mesquite wood now, of course. Ed, since you asked, if I have a really big piece, diameter piece, I may consider like those wormy ash ones over there. That actually was taken from a big piece where I did quarter it. And this piece here, I don't think I'll do that, but I'll probably do what I do with the majority of the ones I do turn, which is where I'll cut it down. If you could use this camera here. I'm going to move this for just a second. Many times I'll look at an opportunity with how the wood looks, where the grain is, where bark inclusions are, and what I may end up deciding to do is cut it down the center, but then cut off like the bottom fifth of each side, which is basically how these were made here, a much smaller version of that. So when that something like this will create a nice bookend like that, where you cut off about the last fifth of the half of the circle there. Let me go ahead and get this tenon made. I got a lot of tear out coming this direction. Sometimes it just depends, it seems. I'm going to put about a little over 3-inch tenon on it. So we have a lot of stuff going on here. Well, we've got a big inclusion going here, but I've got some cracking going on here. You never know, but I'm going to proceed very cautiously here. I think I can, I don't know about using a tenon here, because that's not going to be all that great.
Can you reinforce it with the CA?
I could, and great question. I often will, I use CA, thin CA a lot with the bark areas. Let's see how that, we'll see how it goes. But I'll just make sure it doesn't come flying out that way. You're brave to be sitting there. This piece here is really thick, which gives a lot of opportunity to create some really, it could end up being some real deep, like this bookend here is not all that thick. If I end up trying to go the same approach with this piece here, it would end up being a much deeper piece of bookend, which in itself creates a lot of neat opportunities. So we'll see how that goes. Let me go ahead and very carefully move this back, take that off very carefully. I don't know what it is about these little nubs here. I've ended up getting more catches on this little nub here. I don't know if y'all do that. I try to get in too big of a hurry. But I'm going at a very slow speed, just taking off a little bit at a time there. All right, turn that off. And let me make sure that is flat, really flat for the edges of the chuck to sit down on. Just a real quick skew action there. All right, so the spindle lock, I think I found it. All right, it is right there. There we go. Yeah, after that came flying off, I looked around and found what seemed to be the biggest heavy-duty kind of faceplate. I wasn't going to have that happen again, so I've got that sucker is on there. Take this off real quick. And these are sheet metal screws, but they're short sheet metal screws. And depending on the piece that I'm doing, this has a lot of mass to it. So I wasn't going to take any chances. I went ahead and used the faceplate. Sometimes if it's a smaller, well, I'll say a thinner piece, I may use a worm screw and have a worm screw hole here instead. But I really don't want to have to have any worry about this going anywhere, and especially when it's a big piece like this. Have any of y'all ever made bookends? Well, you know, the one thing that I do love about being part of wood turning clubs, I'm a member of the Dallas Club and the Hunt County Wood Turning Club, and just the opportunity to be inspired and seeing what other people are doing. And one of my goals is to definitely have y'all walking out of here going, well, if that guy can do that with that sort of simple idea, I bet you I can do it too. This is really not rocket science. It just was an idea, and I said, hey, how can I do that? And it turned out pretty nice. And since then, I've done a lot of bookends, and I'll do a lot of different kinds of embellishments on them, like wood burning, wire burning, to mention just a few. Yes, there are 18 screws here. I didn't think about that when I said I'm going to use this, but at least I'm using an electric drill. There we go. All right. So got that out pretty fast. Put my chuck on here. And so whether you, well, there was already, I did have a hole drilled for a worm screw if I was going to use that. But all that means is there's going to be some waste that is going to take place on this end of this piece, because especially with all these screw holes in there. So when you're looking at turning this into some bookends, you know that you're going to lose this edge here. Not too much, but some definitely. Oops. What are some of the hard, dense woods that y'all like to work with?
Mesquite and mesquite.
Mesquite and mesquite. What else? Bodark. What? Say again. I'm not sure. IPA? And that's a wood. Okay. I obviously haven't heard of that one. Oh, okay. Very hard, I guess. Okay. Wow. Okay. This, speaking of bodark, this was a piece I was looking at doing the demonstration on. This bodark has a bunch of cracks in it, and so I said, well, I think I'm going to just pull that off, and we'll think about that. All right. So
Question.
yes.
You mentioned greenwood.
Uh-huh.